Welcome to the Fit Factor podcast, where we discuss health and fitness for those who may have mistakenly thought that their best, healthiest days were behind them. That's about to change. Welcome to the Fit Factor podcast. Good to have you here today. My name is Nathan Redman, and I'm the owner of It Factor Coaching in Houston, Texas. And I appreciate you stopping by and listening to my podcast today. We're going to talk about my three top supplements today for people who are active and, in the fitness space and just maybe trying to build muscle and get in shape and that whole deal. And there's, obviously there's varying degrees of how much you're into that. And you might be the CrossFit champion of the world, and you might be the guy that just bought the membership last week, but he's serious about making some real changes in his body and everything in between. So we're going to talk about three supplements today that I highly recommend you start consuming if you're serious about your fitness goals. Now, there are gazillions, if that's even a thing. If there's such thing as a gazillion, there are gazillions of supplements out there. And to say that these are the top three, like these are the three most important, that would be ridiculous. I would just get blasted on social media by everybody that knows better. But I'm going to give you three of my top picks for supplements that I think are just like no-brainers. These are no-brainers. These are things you need to incorporate into your everyday routine with supplements. So somewhere around the number I've heard, and statistically speaking, somewhere around 80% of Americans are on some type of supplements. And obviously the supplement industry, especially in the sports and exercise world and weight loss world and whatnot, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, crap, it might even be drifting up towards the trillions. I don't know. It's unbelievable how much money. I'm sure it's not trillion, but the point being, the supplement industry is a monstrous industry, and a lot of money gets spent there every year from people just trying to get an edge, just trying to find something to just make their results that much better. And we're going to talk about three of those supplements today. So without further ado, here are my top three supplements, and we're going to go in reverse order. You have to wait till the end to get to number one. You got to sit through 3 and 2 first. But here we go. Let's start out. Fish oil is the number 3 supplement on my list. Yes, you heard that right. Exercise? Fish oil? What in the world? Why is fish oil on this list? Aren't you going to say pre-workout? Aren't you going to, I could go into all of the sports nutrition shop stuff, and I'm just going to tell you right now, fish oil. Here's why. First of all, fish oil specifically, we're talking omega-3 fish oil. Okay. And you can find omega-3 fish oil naturally, obviously, in fish, in specific types of fish, though. All right. Cold water fish is where you want to find, cold water seafood is where you want to find your omega-3 fish oils. Fish like salmon, halibut, cod, even sardines. In fact, sardines are probably one of the highest sources, if not the highest source, of omega-3 fatty acids, omega-3 fish oils. So those are going to be some sources you can find this naturally occurring, but taking an everyday fish oil supplement, a quality fish oil supplement, is something that I would encourage you to do. And here's why. 2 key reasons, 2 key aspects of why fish oil is important in your fitness goals. And here's number 1. Omega-3 fish oils increase muscle protein synthesis. Okay? Increase muscle protein synthesis. If you are working out and exercising and wanting to build muscle, you need muscle protein synthesis to do its thing. All right. And omega-3 fish oils increase muscle protein synthesis. There was an 8-week study done. There was an 8-week study done by the Journal of Clinical Science. All right. They used 4 grams daily of fish oil. That was their study on human subjects, on people. 4 grams of fish oil per day. And what they found in that study was that the fish oil increased the muscle protein synthesis when combined with protein. Now, beautiful aspect of that is that if you get enough fish oil on a daily basis through eating fish, the protein is in the fish oil is in the fish, you're getting a combo deal by actually eating seafood, cold water seafood. But if you're not eating cold water seafood every day and you want to have fish oil, an adequate amount, which in this study was 4 grams per day, if you want to have an adequate amount of fish oil in your diet, you're going to need to supplement that unless you're eating cold water seafood every single day. All right. But in that study, they found that muscle protein synthesis was increased when combined with protein. But they also found that on the group in the study that was not given the fish oil, they saw less muscle protein synthesis. They had the same amount of protein given to them, but no fish oil, and the muscle protein synthesis was at a lesser degree. All right. Obviously, muscle protein synthesis is our goal if we're exercising and if we're trying to live a fitness lifestyle. Okay. So building muscle, if that's your goal, you want to do everything you can to increase muscle protein synthesis, and omega-3 fish oils did that. Okay. Now, second thing that they found and has been found in some studies, and these studies were actually done on mice, not on humans. These were done on mice, but they took mice, they split them into 2 evenly numbered groups. And in one group, they gave them a fish oil supplement, omega-3 fish oil, and the other group, no fish oil supplement. And then they placed both groups on an equal calorie, high fat diet. And what they found is that the mice that were given the omega-3 fish oils did not gain weight on the high fat diet, but the mice who were not given the fish oil, they gained weight. So omega-3 fish oil, high fat diet, no weight gain. No omega-3 fish oil, high fat diet, weight gain. What they found as they dug deeper into this is that the omega-3s actually increased the core body temperature of the mice that took the omega-3s. Increased core body temperature is just another way of saying they increase their metabolism. They burn more calories at rest with the omega-3s. Super interesting study. So now I'm not telling you that if you are looking to lose weight that you need to go out and just suddenly start pounding handfuls of fish oil. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is in this particular study, they did find that omega-3s increased core body temperature, which increased metabolism, which increased the daily calorie burn of the mice that were on the supplement. So super interesting thing. So omega-3 fish oils is number 3. As far as dosage goes, you're looking for 3 to 4 grams a day. Okay. 3 to 4 grams a day. Super easy to do. So that's number 3. Number 2 supplement. It Factor Coaching is growing and it's exciting. We are casting a bigger net. We have added a brand new service to what we do. And that service is in a whole new layer of nutrition coaching with CG Nutrition. If you recognize CG, you might know that it stands for Camp Gladiator. Camp Gladiator is a massive nationwide company here in the States that provides boot camp style training and fitness classes. Very well known. Well, now they're doing nutrition coaching. And as of this past week, I was brought on as one of their nutrition coaches, and I'm really pumped to be a part of what they're doing. They have nutrition coaching plans starting for as low as $40 a month. Are you kidding me? $40 a month to have your own nutrition coach, to have weekly menus sent to you with grocery lists. I mean, it cannot get any simpler or any cheaper. So if you're looking to simplify your life when it comes to nutrition, get a program that's dialed in for exactly what you need based on who you are and what your goals are, head over to the link in the show notes for CG Nutrition, and you can get plugged in there. And we'll get you going for as little as $40 a month. I mean, it's unbelievable. So head over there to their website and you can get started right away. Your life just got so much simpler and your nutrition definitely got better. That you got to include in your daily routine if you are living an active fitness, bodybuilding slash weight training slash strength training slash endurance training lifestyle, and that is whey protein. Whey protein. You've been to the store, you've seen the jugs, the massive jugs that look like, 3 or 4 times the size of a standard milk carton, but you've seen these jugs that say whey protein on them. Well, what is whey protein? Whey is one of 2 proteins that come from cow's milk. Okay. There are 2 proteins. One is whey and one is called casein. When you make cheese, the casein is what thickens up and makes the cheese, and the whey protein is what just kind of flows out before they make the cheese. It kind of separates out and it kind of flows off. All right. It's real liquidy. Well, for years and years and years, cheese makers were just throwing this whey away. They were throwing away the whey and just basically getting rid of what they thought was waste. And come to find out, this whey protein was loaded. This whey product was loaded with protein. Okay. So whey protein is one of the 2 proteins that are part of cow's milk, and it gets separated out from the casein. So why is whey among all the other proteins? Why whey? I'm going to get some serious tongue twisters going on with this one. Why whey? Well, number one, whey protein contains the highest amount of leucine of all protein sources. There's no other protein source that has a higher amount of leucine than whey protein. Now, why is that important? Leucine is one of our branched chain amino acids, and leucine is the primary driver. It is the primary signal for muscle protein synthesis. So if you have a higher amount of leucine, that's going to trigger that muscle protein synthesis in a greater way and open up that door, that anabolic window is what we refer to it as. That's going to allow you to generate muscle, to build muscle, to synthesize muscle through muscle protein synthesis. So whey protein has the highest amount of that leucine of all protein supplements. So number one, that's really key, is the leucine. Number 2, whey is extremely digestible and it absorbs very quickly. All right. Some proteins don't necessarily absorb quickly, and they aren't very easily digestible. Matter of fact, the casein that we talked about earlier, if you were to supplement casein protein, it doesn't digest nearly as easily as whey protein does. So it's easily digestible and it absorbs very quickly. Also, supplementing protein. Why do we want to supplement protein in the first place? Well, it's highly beneficial, especially if you are prioritizing protein in your diet, because it helps you hit your protein targets without having to eat all day long. I was talking to a client of mine just like 2 or 3 days ago, and I had suggested a whey protein supplement to this young lady, and she asked why. And I said, well, quite honestly, your protein need that you need to hit every day, your target you need to hit every day is pretty high. And we went over that number. And I said, you're going to have to eat, and this was her number, in order to get 170 grams of protein per day. That's the equivalent of somewhere between 4 and 5 chicken breasts. 4 and 5 chicken breasts in order to meet your protein target. Now, obviously, she's not going to just eat protein through chicken. She's going to eat other sources of protein. But I just said that to kind of get the point across about, man, that's a lot of protein. 170 grams of protein is pretty high. So an easy way to hit that target rather than just eating all day long is to take a protein powder supplement. Most protein powders are going to have around 25 to 30 grams per serving. So if you have a couple of really solid protein sources in the day with meat and different animal products, maybe eggs, things like that, you can just make sure you hit your target of protein with a supplement like whey. So that's a great way I keep saying whey. That's a great way to get your protein in, by supplementing with whey. Try to emphasize the H, whey. The last thing is this, as far as the whey protein goes. When you're in a calorie deficit, if you're on a diet, if you're trying to be in a deficit and lose weight and burn fat, one thing we've talked about several times in in different podcasts that I've done, we've talked about the importance of maintaining your lean muscle. You want to maintain your lean muscle while you're in a calorie deficit so that the weight loss that you have, as much as you possibly can control, you want that to come from fat stores. So by supplementing protein, you're going to make sure that you hit your protein targets, and the weight loss that you have in a calorie deficit will be more on the fat side and less on losing lean muscle. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're on a diet, you're restricting your calories, definitely make sure that you're hitting your protein targets. And I know we glossed over that in last week's podcast, but just as a starting point, you want to look to hit 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. All right, 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Okay. Now, as far as the dosage of whey, really simple. It takes about 20 to 25 grams of protein for you to activate muscle protein synthesis. So you've got to take a big enough dose to open that door to muscle protein synthesis. Most servings of whey protein, because the manufacturers know this about protein synthesis, most servings are going to be about 25 to 30 grams. So one scoop, generally speaking, of your particular whey protein is going to be enough to trigger muscle protein synthesis. All right. As far as timing goes, you want to time your protein about every 3 hours or so, but don't get stuck in the weeds about timing. What you really want to just make sure of is that on a daily basis, you're getting your total target in. So if you go 3, 4, 5 hours without getting some protein in, don't freak out about it. Just make sure that by the end of the day, you hit your target. If you're trying to hit 150 grams of protein per day, just make sure you hit that target. 200 grams a day, if you're a dude and you're trying to, put on some muscle, make sure you hit that target. That's the most important thing. All right. So number 3 on our list was the fish oil. Number 2 on our list was the whey protein. And now for the king, the Mac Daddy of all the Mac Daddies of supplements, number 1. I want to take a minute to mention Dot Fit Nutrition. Roughly 80% of Americans take some form of dietary supplements. But unlike pharmaceutical companies, supplement companies aren't responsible for making sure that their products are safe and effective. An alarming number of mass market dietary supplements are mislabeled, underformulated, and contain contaminants and banned substances. And if you're one of the 80% of Americans who take supplements, you might be wasting your money on ineffective or unsafe products. This is why Dot Fit is different. They're third-party tested and NSF certified, so you know that you're getting what the packaging says you're getting. I've been using their products for a few weeks now, and I can tell the difference already. For more information or to purchase Dot Fit supplements, just go to the link in the show notes and receive 20% off, not just your first order, but every order. But you have to use our link to get the discount. The most important supplement, in my opinion, is creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate is the king of all supplements, in my opinion. All right. What is creatine? That's important for us to know. What is creatine? Is it a steroid? Is it legal? Do I need to cycle it? Is it going to make me get cancer? So many questions when we start talking about things we don't know anything about. Creatine is probably one of those for a lot of people. So let's start right here with what creatine is. Creatine is a naturally occurring chemical in our bodies. Every single one of us, 100% of the people listening to this podcast right now have creatine in their body. It generally is going to come from animal products like beef, red meat, very high in creatine. Anything that you eat that is a muscle is probably going to have creatine in it because that's where creatine is stored. So if you eat meat, you're getting creatine. You have creatine in your body. Now, if you don't eat meat, it's probably something that you need to think about. Not eating the meat. I'm not saying think about that. If you have issues with eating meat, do you. But in terms of the creatine, if you don't eat meat, supplementing might be something that you really want to take into consideration. So creatine is a naturally occurring chemical in our body. It's created in the liver and the kidneys, but it's stored in skeletal muscle. Just like we just mentioned, when you eat meat, you're eating creatine. All right. Creatine is the most studied supplement on earth. It has gotten more research done on it than basically any supplement ever created, ever invented, ever consumed. And there is no evidence. There's no evidence at this point of it having any known negative side effects. So you can take it. It's safe. You're not going to have to worry about overdosing on it. If you take more than your body needs, you'll just pee it out. So creatine, mega safe, no problems. And here's what creatine does. This is why creatine is important. We have 3 energy systems in our body. All right. And just for the sake of, I'll just kind of break it down into time frames. There's different lengths of time that we can perform activities. And in those 3 different lengths of time, we have 3 different energy systems to fuel those workouts. Creatine is the fuel source for what we call the ATP creatine phosphate system. That's the system that our body uses from the time that we initiate activity through about maybe 10 to 12 seconds. If you train your body, maybe you can function off of creatine for about 15 seconds, but that's going to be our short-term bursts of energy. Now, why is that important? Think about this. When you're in the gym and you're lifting weights, you're going to be using short bursts of force. We're not talking about going and running a quarter of a mile. We're not talking about even running a 100-meter dash. If you're slower, you probably would take longer than 15 seconds to do that. And we're certainly not talking about distance running. Okay? We are talking about short-term needs for energy, explosive energy. So sprinting, short-term sprinting, weightlifting, jumping, even continuous repetitive jumping for, 5, 10, 15 seconds. That's going to be where creatine and the ATP system comes into play. That's where we're getting that energy. So when you supplement creatine, it's simply a way to increase your available energy during exercise. So it increases your force output. It increases your strength. It helps you when you're lifting and you're on the bench press and you're doing a set of 10 and you get to that 8th rep and you're starting to struggle. Creatine can be that one thing that helps you get those last 2 reps in without needing your spotter to bail you out. It could get those last 1 or 2 reps in so that you can finish that set and get a better workout. So if you're getting a better workout, what's that going to wind up causing? It's going to cause better results. The result from getting that better workout, getting those last couple reps is going to be your long-term results, your gains, as the kids say. Your gains are going to be there. GAINZ. That's how the kids spell it. So creatine is going to help you with those short bursts of energy, especially when you're in the gym and you're strength training. All right. Now, some other benefits of creatine: increase muscle size. Yeah, increase muscle size. You want to have the guns? I'm telling you right now, if you supplement creatine, and we're going to talk about dosing in a minute, but it will increase the size of your muscles. Now, here's how it does that. It floods your muscles with water. It hydrates your muscles, and it just floods your muscles with water. So it's like, just think of a balloon. You take a small little, like those balloons you have water balloon fights with, the little bitty ones. You fill that sucker up with water and that thing just starts expanding. You've filled those up before, and sometimes you overdo them and they just pop on you while you're trying to fill them. Well, your muscles aren't going to pop on you, but you are filling those muscles like you would fill that little water balloon to have a water balloon fight. That's what creatine is going to do. So it's going to make your muscles swell. It's going to give you more size. It's going to make your muscles have better definition. Sometimes people want to have better tone in their muscles. Creatine alone, by just filling that muscle up, can make you look bigger. It can make your muscles appear bigger and give you more definition in your arms, your legs, your pecs, whatever it is. All right. So that's a great benefit. It just increases your size. And one thing you need to know, though, is this: if it's increasing your muscle size by flooding it with water, then you need to be prepared when you stand on the scale for that increase in weight on the scale. because you're going to gain anywhere from 3 to 6 or so pounds of water weight just from supplementing creatine. So just emotionally prepare yourself from that. If you've been on a weight loss program or if you've been really trying to keep your weight down, when you take creatine, you are going to gain weight. But here's the beauty. It's all localized in your muscles. You're not going to have a bloated tummy. You're not going to have, your hips and thighs aren't going to swell up and look flabby and just have water weight everywhere. It's not that kind of water weight. It's not inflammation. It's nothing like that. It's literally localized in the muscles. So you're going to gain weight, but it's all localized in the muscles. So when you get on that scale and it says you've gained 5 pounds in a week, calm down, take a deep breath. It's good. It's okay. In fact, I'll even go so far as this. I started supplementing with creatine and I gained like 7 pounds. And I had to really talk myself off the ledge because I had spent so much time just trying to be locked in on a specific body weight. And I had to just tell myself, man, this is what it's supposed to do. This is what it's supposed to do. Okay. So don't freak out when you get on the scale. Last thing is this, in terms of benefits, it's been proven that creatine has cognitive benefits. Your brain loves creatine. So if you want to think better, if you want to be smarter, maybe it makes us smarter. When they say cognitive benefits, I'm just going to pretend. I'm going to pretend it increases your IQ. That's just me. No science, no studies, no research. I'm just going to live with that. I'm going to soak that in. Nathan, you're going to be smarter. You're increasing your IQ simply by taking creatine. But in all seriousness, it does have cognitive benefits. Your brain loves creatine. All right. So that's a definite benefit. Now, dosing. How do we dose creatine? You want to go through a loading phase for starters. It takes a long time for creatine to absorb and to saturate your muscles. It could take several weeks if you don't load first. So there's a loading phase that takes anywhere from 5 to 7 days. So let's just say for the first week with creatine, you're going to take 5 grams, which is generally 1 scoop of creatine. The serving size in a bottle or a jug of creatine is going to be 5 grams. You're going to take 5 grams 5 times a day. That's 25 grams per day for the first week. That's going to saturate your muscles. And then after week 1 is over with, you're going to settle into somewhere between 3 and 5 grams a day. So you're going to be taking 5 times as much creatine in the first week as you move forward. Okay. So week 2 and beyond, 3 to 5 grams, just depending on your size. If you're a bigger guy, 5 grams. If you're a smaller guy or maybe a smaller woman, maybe 3 grams is going to be good for you. But anywhere from 3 to 5 grams after that loading phase. Now, if you don't want to load, you don't have to. You can just start taking 5 grams a day, but it's just going to take probably 2 or 3 weeks for your muscles to saturate with creatine by not loading it. And just one little side note, if you do load it, if you go through the loading phase concept, make sure that you take it with food, or at the very least, do not take it on an empty stomach because you can get a little bit of a tummy ache from 25 grams of creatine in a day and you're taking it on empty stomach. Okay. So just something to think about is if there was, I mentioned earlier, there's no side effects. If you want to call this a side effect, that's fine. But it's just a little bit of tummy distress early on if you're loading it. If you don't load and you just do 5 grams a day and you drink it with 20 ounces of water, I don't know that you're going to have any issues at all. All right. And then after you adapt to it, you're not going to have any issues with it. So just something to think about. So here we go, back through just real quick. Number 3 was fish oil. Number 2 was whey protein. And the king of all supplements, in my opinion, creatine monohydrate. So I hope that's helpful for you. And like I said at the beginning, there are so many supplements. These are just 3. These will get you started. I could even list off a few just right off the top of my head that are worth consideration, but I'm not going to go there because I just won't stop talking about them. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. And before you go, I just want to mention real quick, if you are looking for some help with your fitness, with your training, with weight loss, with your nutrition, those are all things that I help with. Those are all things that I can be of service to you to help you reach your goals. So stop by my website, itfactorcoaching.health, and you can get a little bit of information there, fill out a very short little questionnaire of sorts that just kind of gives me a way to contact you, and then we can just get in touch. That's the best thing to do for us, to just get in touch, have a conversation, and see what your goals are, see how I can help you, and go from there. So thanks again for stopping by the podcast, and I am out.